Christmas Time is Here is a 2021 film directed by Christie Wolf, written by Joel Canfield and Lisa Canfield, and it stars Rukiya Bernard as Naya and Dewshane Williams as Julian. And in general, I liked it, but there are some things that I think didn't work very well. Partly the character of Naya. I didn't love her attitude. She was kind of selfish. She's a realtor, and a lot of it is focusing on her trying to help Julian find the perfect property. And that's all well and good. Her father is also trying to sell the family in so that he can retire, but Naya doesn't want him to sell it. So she basically stops anybody from buying it, particularly Julian, because she thinks Julian's going to buy it and completely renovate it and basically change the fabrication of the inn. But that's not really her decision to make. It's not her property, it's her father's. And he wants to sell it, so he's got a decent amount of money to retire on. And she's being very, very selfish. And I feel like she had a lesson to learn. And I don't love the direction the film took. But I'll get in with that with a spoiler warning in a moment. Generally, though, I don't mind her as a character. Julian, I really, really liked. So if she was irritating me, usually it meant that there was at least something else in each scene that I enjoyed. Her father, Patrick, played by Tom Pickett, he's a really likable character as well. And I know that there's an emotional, sentimental reason why she doesn't want to sell the inn, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's not her decision. She had no right to stop anybody from buying it, and she's a pretty selfish individual. At the end of the day, somebody's offering her father a lot of money for this property. That's not her business to say no. And it's kind of selfish that she's preventing her or trying to prevent her father from retiring with a decent amount of money when it's what he wants to do with the property that he owns. So I didn't really like her very much. I didn't hate her. Other than that, she was an okay character. But it did mean that I didn't really care about anything she was feeling because I don't think she was coming from the right place. But as I said, Julian is actually really likable. So the romantic aspect, well, I wanted the best for him. I hoped things went his way. I wasn't that bothered about what happened to her, but obviously, as a romantic pairing, their relationship goes hand in hand. It's not the most festive either. We have some festive decorations. Actually, we have quite a lot of festive decorations. I will say visually, it's very Christmassy. But if you're playing Christmas bingo, there are not too many things you're going to be able to tick off of your list. We have some nice Christmas music, but other than that, it's not the most festive. It could, in theory, be held or filmed or set even at any time of the year, and the narrative would have made just as much sense. It's a little slow in places as well. I feel like we could have lost half an hour from this without losing any substance. We kind of go round in circles a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's a pleasant enough narrative. Julian is a really likable character, and I was keen to see what would happen. Unfortunately, I didn't love what happened. So I do recommend the film if you haven't seen it and you're looking for a Christmas rom com. I will discuss now with a spoiler something that I didn't like. And this is something that happens towards the end that I feel like was the wrong decision. So, spoilers from now. At the end of the film, or near the end of the film, Naya finds a document in the back of a photo frame, which is a very ridiculous place to keep it, that her mother had that was filing for preservation so that nobody could change the inn or change the structure of the inn. And apparently, this had gone through and it was a historical site, and that any buyer wouldn't be able to do anything specific, so they would have to keep the inn pretty much the way it is. And it just seemed really forced. It felt like far too much of a coincidence. And also, it meant that lessons weren't learned. It meant that selfish Naya got what she wanted. At the end of the day, everybody got the best of both worlds, I guess. But at the same time, I was wanting Naya to realise that this wasn't her property. It wasn't up to her who bought it. She was being very selfish by preventing her father from getting this decent amount of money and selling the property for a good amount of money just because she had some sentimental attachment to it. I wanted her to learn that that wasn't her decision to make. And it's a little bit concerning also if a realtor is preventing somebody from buying a property that somebody is trying to sell. That's a bit concerning and not very good practice. But she didn't learn that lesson. she got what she wanted. Well, kind of. What she really wanted was to buy the property herself, but obviously not having that kind of money and not being able to give her father that financial stability, it wasn't an option for her. Had she been likable and not really acting very selfishly throughout it, then I would have been okay with this massive coincidence of this one document she needed hiding behind this random photo frame. But because I needed her to learn lessons for her to become likable, rather than getting what she wanted handed to her on a silver platter, it meant that I thought it was a very bad decision. So I didn't love the direction it took, even though in theory, for her father, it was the best of both worlds. But for her, I feel like she got what she wanted while still being selfish, and I didn't enjoy that. So I didn't love the ending, but the romantic aspect I thought developed quite well. So it's not all bad, but I didn't love it. Christmas Time is Here is okay. It's a watchable film, but it's far from perfect.